Hey everybody, welcome to my studio. It's Joanne Rogers. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Central Alberta, Canada, and I've been designing with you in mind since 1999. So thanks very much for joining me today. I have a super cute paper crafting project for you. So I come to you every week to do a Facebook Live, and I have a project this time that is paper crafting and stamping and watercoloring, and I'm doing my very first Easter project. So thanks for joining me. And if you're just getting on, and when you get on, maybe just say where you're watching this from, and make sure you say who you are so that I can say hi to you and other people can say hi and we can sort of have our little community growing. So we had an extreme cold for the last, 3 weeks in Alberta, and it seemed to warm up yesterday, but I just poked my nose out now when I let the dog out, and it is blustery and cold out again. And I have to drive down to Calgary tonight, so I'm hoping the roads aren't going to be too bad. Hey Lori, thanks very much for joining in. So we're going to wait just a few more minutes for some other folks to jump on. So let me make sure that I am in the right place. It looks like it. I'm going to just turn my sound down here so that I can see your comments once I turn the phone the other way. So we've got a few things to do tonight or today. So the first is we have to pick a prize patrol winner from last week. So last week you might remember that I was featuring the Bloom by Bloom stamp set, and we worked with the Happiness Blooms Designer Series paper and made that super cute little folded origami envelope. So I'm going to hold one up here. So this is the one that we actually made in the video, and I'm hoping that lots of you went out and just grabbed a sheet of your computer paper, your bond paper. 8.5 by 8.5 is the size that we were making, and made one so that you remember how to do one. So I use the random comment picker option in Facebook, and so my winner for this one is Barb. So Barb's Whack. So if you can send me a comment, Barb, and we'll connect and I can get this to you. So again, for those who might have missed last week's, and you can just take a look in the video section, you'll see it there. We made the envelope and we did the cute little card that goes inside. So I did have someone ask too about whether I put a little magnet on here. So there's a little magnet. So Sheila asked if we put the magnet on there and we put a gift card in, so one that has the magnetic strip, if that would take away the magnet. Anybody got an idea on that? Hi Jennifer, thanks for coming. I'm not so sure if that would take away the magnetic strip on your card. You don't need to put it on there. I just like it to be a little bit more closed with it on there, but feel free to not put one on. And it depends really on how thick your paper is. So if you have some paper that's not quite as thick as this Happiness Blooms, then maybe it won't stick out quite so much. So anyway, this is for Barb. So Barb, send me a private message or a comment, and we can connect so that I can get that to you. And then I also did a pop-up live on Saturday. So Saturday, 9 o'clock. So I had you guys up bright and early. This is what we made. So a super pretty card and envelope showing what else you can do with that Happiness Blooms stamp set. So there's the inside of the card. Totally different color choices. So these are very soft colors. We had, what did we have? Sahara Sand, Grapefruit Grove, some early espresso, and soft seafoam on here. So a really pretty card, and I gave you some tips on how to get some curl in your linen thread there. So what was up for grabs there is if you shared it, I put your name into the draw for the Memories and More card pack that went along with the Happiness Bloom Suite. So I've got my names in a draw here, and you probably can't even hear that. I'll make lots of noise in the can. So I've got those names because I'm going to pick a winner right now. And so the winner is Leanne. So Leanne Walker, if you can get back to me and let me know, and we'll make a plan so that I can get this to you so that you can start using them right away for cards or scrapbooking or whatever you might like. Okay, so those are our prizes. So now I'm going to turn you down, talk a little bit about the product of the week this week, and then get going with our project. So Jennifer, you got your necklace today. Good for you. Congratulations. So Jennifer just became the next level, which is a silver with Stampin' Up! And she has a friend that joined her on her team. And so congratulations. That's great news. Okay, I'm going to turn you around here right now. Go. So let me know what that looks like, if you can see it. I have a feeling I'm going to need to probably turn that, make it a little bit, yeah, we can really see that this time. Let me try and get that in a little bit. I have to stand on my tippy toes here in order to try and get this so that it zooms in. And it doesn't really want to zoom. Oh, there we go. There, now I'm zoomed in. Okay, so let me know. You can see that fine? It looks like it. Okay, so I'm going to have to work up here. So this is the stamp set that I'm working with this week. It's Fable Friends, and it's on page 30 of the Occasions catalog. And to be honest with you, I thought this was awfully cute, but I wasn't going to get it. And then my mother said she loved it. She thought it was the best one in the catalog. And so I did get it, and I've been playing with it this week, and it makes super sweet, adorable projects. So the one we're going to do today is not a card. I had a card on the blog on Tuesday, and it actually was the mama, I called her a duck, but I don't know, is she a duck? Is she? I guess she's a duck. She's a duck, and here's her ducklings. I think I changed it to a goose and goslings. What do you think, duck or goose? Because if it's not a goose, I have to change back my blog again. I see I've got a little bit of a glare on it there, so hopefully that makes a little bit better. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So let me know. Lori, looks like a goose to me. Anybody else? I don't, maybe it could be both. I don't know, look at those feet. Those look like pretty webbed feet. So maybe she is a duck. She's awfully cute because it looks like she's got her rain coat and her rain jacket on. So today we're going to be working with this bunny, which is going to be an Easter bunny. So Jennifer thinks she's a goose too. So we're going to be happy and say that she's a goose. If anybody else wants to comment, if they're watching it on the replay and let us know if there's a definitive answer. For sure, this is a squirrel. For sure, this is a bunny. And what I do really like about this stamp set is that it's not just for Easter. So there's baby, spring, just a friend one, and of course Easter here at all. And you could just take the Easter off and say greetings. So it's got a nice mix of sort of a script here with a plain font as well. So that's what I like about it. And as I said, I probably wouldn't have gotten it, even though I thought it was awfully sweet, and my mother thought that it was the best one going. So that's why we're using it today. So this is what we're going to do today. We're going to do a little bit of watercoloring, and we're going to, first of all, stamp the bunny. Let me see if I can get that out of the light a little bit for you so that you can see. I'm going to pull it off this way. There, I think you can see that a little bit better. So we are going to stamp, and I already have my bunny already set up on my Stamparatus. So because this is a clear mount stamp, we don't need to have our foam inside our Stamparatus, so I don't have it on here. There we go, I don't have it on here. I just got a couple pieces of paper. I have my cardstock, my watercolor paper in here, so it's not cardstock. I've got my 2 magnets on, and so just a hint, if you haven't already, don't do this or haven't seen it, take your stamp set and put it underneath the clear plate so that you have something to stamp on. So I'm just going to use some StazOn, and StazOn is just fine on your clear mount stamps, and I'm just going to stamp that down. Now the reason why I'm using my Stamparatus is because with watercolor paper it can be fairly bumpy. So if it's bumpy, you may not get a great impression right off. So I've just rubbed that all around, lifted it off, and actually I'm pretty good, so I'm happy with that. So I'm going to take my bunny out, and I am going to just, I'm going to pull that out so that I don't get my ink on here. And I'm just going to pull that off to the side. because we are done with that. And now we are going to do some watercoloring. So when I'm going to watercolor this time, what I want to use are my ink refills. So you don't need to have all of the stamp pads. You don't need to have because sometimes that can be a fairly pricey investment for you. So we are going to go with ink refills today, and I've chosen the colors. So we are going with Lemon Lime Twist, and all I'm going to do is put 1 drop on there. We're going Powder Pink. 1 drop of powder pink as well. And really, I could have just dabbed it on there because we're going to use so little of the pink. And then some smoky slate. So 1 little dab of the smoky slate. Now, it's hard to tell what your colors are when you're doing this. So you do sort of need to remember where you put things. So when you are watercoloring, I'm going to pick up the aqua painter because, oh, I didn't say what the steal of a deal was. So with my product of the week, and every week I have a steal of a deal as well. So my product of the week, of course, is the stamp set. And my steal of a deal is if you purchase the stamp set, you can get 15% off of a set of aqua painters right now. So these are super great because they're portable. So you put your water in, your water reservoir sits in here. It's in like a barrel. And then all you have to do is squeeze it. I'll just squeeze it so that you can see the water come out. And then you just have clear water. And I probably should have a piece of paper towel here, but I don't. So let me just grab a piece of paper. Hold on. Go. I'm just going to put this piece of paper down there, just scrap paper. Okay, so when I'm watercoloring, what I want to do is I want to start with the largest area that I'm going to work with. And because I want some different colors, so you want to pre-plan where you're going to put different colors. So I want my bunny to be gray. I want the inside of his ears and his nose to be pink. And then I want his little sweater or jacket to be Lemon Lime Twist. So if I were to put that all white, all water in there and start doing it now, then I would end up with gray in my green and green in my pink and pink in my gray. So that's not what I want to do. So I want to break my picture into little pieces so that I can have my ink dry a little bit before I put the next color into the next adjoining space. So we are going to start with, as I said, gray. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down just some white, just some clear. And I use StazOn because that's going to dry really quickly, quicker than our Memento, because our Memento is not a permanent. So now I'm going to pick up just a tiny, tiny little bit of my gray, and I'm just going to dab that in and pull it around. So you can probably hardly see any color coming, so I'm going to add a little bit more. And if I have enough water there, you should see that the color will start running by itself. And that's the best part about watercoloring, in my opinion, is that it sort of does its own thing and you have some really beautiful results. So here you can see, I'll pull it up a little bit. I've got a little bit darker here. I'm going to add a little bit more so that I get darker so it's around his belly. So let me put that down again. I'll put it on his feet. How many people watercolor already and you love to watercolor? Or how many people are sort of intimidated by it because you can never get it to sort of work out the way you think it should work out? What's your experience of it? So I'm going to have his belly be a little bit whiter and a little bit more gray in here. And you want the variation in the color. And I can see just on the screen that it doesn't hardly look like I have any color. So let me go on and give a little bit more. It is in person probably a little bit more than you can see. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and I'm going to go in and do his hands. And his hands are sitting underneath his chin. He's got such a sweet little angelic set of hands there. Almost looks like he's saying, oh, please, 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 I was a good kid. I was a good little bunny. I deserve some Easter treats. Okay, so now I've just got his paws done a little bit as well. And I'm going to go in and do his head. Now I want to leave out the places around his nose and around his ears. So again, I'm just going in. I have just a tiny little bit of my gray left on there. But really all I'm doing at this point is laying down some color. So I'm going to lay down color. I'm going to leave the nose sort of alone. I'm going to go in and just give a little dab of color coming down his ears. And anywhere, stamps are great because they give stamps, especially these open line ones, they tell you where to put the dark and the light. So anywhere where you see some of these detail lines, that's probably where you want to put just a little bit more of your color. So I'm going to, oops, just about got the nose there. So I'm going to put a little bit more so that he looks a little bit more gray. Okay, and you can do a dark gray, you can do a light gray, whatever you like the best. So a little bit more on his face, maybe even more on his hands. So by the time I'm doing this, I am probably drying down here. Hey, Cindy Clark, how are you? Thanks for watching. I am going to be dry down there so that I can go back in and I can start putting in a little bit of my green. So I want a little bit more gray on his ear up here. So let's give him a little bit more here. So because I'm using just a very little bit of water, and you can sort of see anywhere where it's shiny, it is still drying. Anywhere where it's pretty matte, although it's not as dry as it probably can be. I don't know, can you even see some of the shine there? It probably has an opportunity still to dry. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to do his sweater, or sweater, jacket, whichever. I'm again going to put in a little bit of color. And I'm not going to worry too much. Oh, my dog is going to bark. I'm not going to worry too much about his buttons because I'm going to put something else on his buttons. So with watercoloring, it's almost, when you're watercoloring like this, to color in almost like you're coloring in a coloring book, you almost need to pre-think what you want to do. When we're creating watercolor backgrounds, and I've got a great project coming up in a couple weeks doing some backgrounds, you really don't need to plan at all because half of the joy of it is just seeing what happens with your colors. So I've got my green there. I'm going to just dry it off a tiny little bit, put in a little bit more green, and I'm just very lightly tapping it in there. Anywhere where you think there might be some shadow happening, that's where you want to put a little bit of darker color. See here, I think I'm getting sort of, and you can probably see I don't have green going into my gray and I don't have gray coming back into my green. Even though my green is pretty wet, this was dry enough. If I had gone straight from my gray into my green, we would have ended up with a pretty muddy green kind of color. So you don't want to do that. Okay, so get rid of my green because that's all the green that I'm going to do. Now I'm going to go in with just a teeny weeny itsy bitsy little bit of pink. I'm going to lay down my color, my water first. And I'm not so worried if this does meld out into the gray. So I'm just picking up just a teeny little bit. I just want it to move and flow a little bit with the water. Just very slight, because really it's not a bright pink that they have on their ears. It's just a little tiny pink. So this is powder pink. This is one of our 2017, 2019 in colors, meaning they're going to be gone come June. It's a very delicate pink, or quite a pretty one. So that's really all the watercoloring I'm going to do on him. The nice thing with watercolor is I'm also going to give just a little shadow so it doesn't look like he's sort of sitting in the air. So a little bit, I'm not touching him. I'm coming around just with my color, going to come back in with my gray and just make it look like there's a bit of a shadow. I'm going to take a little bit of my color off, and you're just going to sort of fade it off to nothing. Okay, so that's sort of how quickly you can color using your aqua painters and your ink refills. And I hardly used any of my ink refill at all. If I was going for a bigger picture, I might have used up a little bit more than that, but really this is so economical. I'm going to close that stays on. I should have closed it a while ago because otherwise I'm going to get some black happening. So there's our little guy. He's done, and we're done with our watercoloring. So let me just put this aside. So isn't he sweet? So he's just so delicate, the colors in there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a little bag. And what we're going to use the paper from Animal Expedition, which is in the annual catalog, and it comes in a 12 by 12 pack, and I have cut mine down into 6 by 6s. And this is really sweet paper. And what I normally do when I get a 12 by 12 pack of paper is I will take it and I will cut it down right away so that I have 6 by 6. And so what I did this time is I realized I used two of the, and most of you know that you get 2 sheets of each one. I used 2 and I didn't cut them down. So here I've got all the rest of them, and I'm going to show you the project that I made with the other one. So we got cute little frogs, and on the back of each one of them is just some patterned paper. This guy is all of the animals that you can think of in Australia. We've got kangaroos, and we've got a rhinoceros. We've got a hippo there. These are super cute little ones, and that's some calypso coral. I think that's calypso coral. Here we have some more hippos with some butterflies and some gray. And we have some birds just with some leaves with a cute background. This is berry burst and lemon lime on there, which is really great. And then of course we have to have crocodiles or alligators. I'm not too sure. What do they have? They have crocs in Australia, don't they? So those are probably crocodiles with some great call me Clover background. And then the one that I used, I'm going to show you here. So this was a project that Rhonda Wade had done on her Facebook Live quite a while ago now. And it is a good size bag. I'm going to show you this, made with 2 sheets of designer paper. And it's got a little card envelope. So this is the paper. I'll take it out here so you can see it just a little bit better. So this is the paper. It's the large animals, just like we saw the small one. And then the back side of it is the giraffe, the skin like you would see on the giraffe. So this is super cute paper. This was a great project, and I have no idea where I got this great tissue paper, but it fits perfectly with the idea. So I wanted to show you that because that is awfully cute. So what we're going to use today, we're going to use it to go with our bunny, is we're going to pick this color here. So I've got it here. So I have a piece of paper that is 5 inches by 10 inches. And I'm going to use the gift bag punch board. So who here has a gift bag punch board? Most of the time you see, yes, it does go perfect, Cindy. I quite like it on here. So most of the time what you see is the envelope punch board. The gift bag punch board is great for making good size bags. Actually, they're not super tiny little bags. And there's 3 different sizes that you can make just as is. And then Jennifer's got one perfect. Do you ever use it, Jennifer? Have you made it for little treat bags or little packages or gift wrap for people? The size that we're going to make, it makes a small, a medium, and a large. And you start with a large sheet of paper that is either 10 inches, 11 inches, or 12 inches. And we're going with 10 inches, meaning that that is the small size. So I'm going, and all of the instructions, I'm going to see if I can pull it up here. All of the directions are written right on it, just like on our envelope punch board. And it tells you, sort of gives you an idea of what the picture is here. So they're all on there. So you can't ever really forget about how to make one. But what you do, so mine is 5 inches this way and it's 10 inches this way. So you line it up first of all with the start line. So I'm going to pull this out so you can see. And I've pulled out the little scoring tool that comes with it right in here. So you line this, your left edge with that start line. And then you are going to, there's a scoring line in here. You pull that across the top, and I'm going to give it a punch up here. And that's, do that. And then I'm also going to decide small, medium, large. I use the small one. So there's a line here as well that I'm going to pull down. Okay, so you go across the top and I use the small. Now I take this line I just created and I pull that over to the start line. So you can see the start line down here, and I line that up. I do the same thing. I cross the top. So I go across the top, but this time I'm going to go to side 2. So right down side 2, and I'm going to create a triangle. Now, every time you do this, you don't need to do the triangle. It really depends how you're going to use your bag. So there's that one there, and you punch. Okay, so every time you want to remember about punching. So now what I do is I take my most right line, pull that over to my start line. Same thing, across the top. And I go back to my small. Pull straight down, punch. Pull that line over to my start line again, and now I'm doing the side too. So because we're making, it's not going to be square, but it has two sides that are the same. Two sides out of 4 that are the same. Okay, and I punch. And then the last thing we can do, we can go right to the edge on this last line, and we can just give ourselves a punch. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it first comes out. Now what I want to do is I want to just put it in a little bit over here because I want to get this line a little bit further out. So I'm just going to push that back in and have it come across the top, because your stylus can only go as far as your punch there. Okay, so there's our piece. There's our little bit of punchboard poop that we have left over. So we're going to put that aside. And you can pull in your folding bone, or you can use the stylus that it comes with. What you want to do is you want to just cut this little bit off. Okay. And now we are going to fold up on all of our edges. I want the gray to be facing out, so I want to fold in here. I'm going to pull in my folding bone, I think. Pull that in and just fold them all up. You've never used it, Jennifer. Are you gonna maybe pull it out and use it? I actually use it for a lot of different things, because you can make it for this nice little bag here, and I'm gonna put some Easter treats in it, or you can make it for fold over top bags. You can put holes in it and put ribbon in it. Now, I want to, where I scored here, where I'm just going to sort of set those a little bit. I'm not gonna fold them along the score lines, because once we have our box put together, that's when I'll do that. Okay, so now what I want to do, I'm going to fold it in, and I'm going to put a piece of tear and tape right there. Probably it won't stay there. You want to use tear and tape or liquid glue, but certainly because I want this to not take forever to dry, I'm going to put tear and tape on it. And you could probably get away with one. I'm going to take that little bit extra and put it down there. And you can just pull that off. And of course, because I want to pull it off, it's not going to come very easily. Now, why I pull this down like this is now I can just pull up the bottom and it will meet it exactly. Okay, so that will actually set your set your glue together. And now what you want to do is you want to have your, I put my side flaps in first, and then my, I don't know which one's side. I call these the side, and I call these the front and the back. Just because they're bigger, I like to see them on the outside. So think about where you want to put some glue here. So I'm going to show you how to use the liquid glue. So I'm going to put a little bit here, and then I'm going to close that, and I'm going to put a little bit on this one here and on the sides. Okay, so because it's liquid glue, I'm going to hold it in place just for a little bit, and then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm just going to take my folding bone and I'm going to go right inside there, and I'm going to try and let that sit there. So probably, you know, you can decide what you would like to do, if you would like that to be on your, if you would like to use tear and tape, or if you would like to use liquid glue. That's up to you. So I just wanted to show you both ways. So we've got our little bag. So now that I have these on the side, I can push it in like this, and I can fold it over. I can put a clip on there. I wanted to show you that, even though I'm just going to use it for goodies. Now we want to take this guy, and I've got a piece of lemon lime twist designer paper here. And just to give you some measurements here, so this piece, let me just pull it over. This piece of watercolor paper is 2 by 3.5. My designer paper is 2 1/4 by 3 3/4, and this comes from the 2017-19 in color package, and it's great because you get a good selection of those 5 different colors. And I am going to be sad to see these go out of these colors. So we have lemon lime twist, we have powder pink, Berry Burst, Fresh Fig, and Tranquil Tide. So which one of these is going to be your least favorite? You don't mind if it goes. And which one are you really going to bemoan the fact that it's no longer there? So let me know what is your favorite. So I'm just going to glue that down. I'm going to use some liquid glue because I've got watercolor paper. My watercolor paper is needing just a little bit more strength to it to hold it in place. Plus, when I have my liquid glue, I can still move it around just a tiny bit. Okay, I'm going to just put another little bit of liquid glue on the back of that, and I'm going to put that on the front of my bag. And I'll put it this way so you can see. And I should have it exactly the right length. It looks like it's just a teeny bit too tall, but that's okay. Okay, so he's going to fit on there. I just want him to set up. And then we're just going to put a little message on the top. So I've got Easter greetings from the same stamp set. I'm going to use my Stays On again. And I'm just going to stamp that up and down. I'm going to take my 1 3/8 inch scallop circle, which is a very sweet one as well. Do you remember what set this came out with last year, really? It was also sort of a set that had a little tiny bunny in it. So I'm going to go with that. 1 1/2 inch, I'm going to take a piece of my powder pink, which just fell on the floor. Okay, and I'm going to show you just a slightly different version here. Take some snail and put that down. Okay, so it's got a nice little border around it, and I'm going to take some dimensionals, 2 dimensionals, but before I do that, I have a bow. So I created my bow out of my powder pink shimmery ribbon, which I really quite like. And it's just so flexible, and I love that it catches the light. Can you see it sort of catching the light in the camera? So I'm going to take my bow and I'm going to put it on top of there. Now we need to know, what side does this need to go on? Jennifer, you're going to miss Lemon Lime Twist. You won't miss Tranquil Tide. You know, it's a color that sort of grows on you. I didn't think I would either. So I'm going to either put it here, or I'm going to put it down on the bottom, or off to this side. Which side do you think? Left or right? I actually don't think I want the bottom. So your choices are left or right. First person to tell me which one they'd like to see it on, that's the side it's going on. So do we want the left for the bow, or do we want the right for the bow? Let me know which one it is. Upper right. Thank you, Lori. Perfect. So I'm just going to set that one down. Now I have lots of extra ribbon here. So I am going, Jennifer was right too. So that's great. We have the same idea happening here. This is a little long, so I'm just going to take that off. These are old Stampin' Up! Scissors from, several years ago. And I only use those for ribbon. So I'm going to leave that going off to the side. And I'm going to put my Easter greeting right over top. So I think maybe I'm going to put that a little bit on an angle. Okay, and then you're just going to pop in some candy, some chocolate, and you want it to have it go over the top. So I want to show you this one. So this is one I made before when I was practicing. So this guy is on the left. There was a little bit more room because I started with a piece of paper that was 6 by 10 instead of 5 by 10. So it gives you an idea. It's exactly the same size on the sides, but it is much taller, by an inch. And so what appeals to you more? The taller one? Do you think this one's a little too small? You probably needed to cut that paper down. Do you think he's a little too small? And then the very last thing I want to do to give a little bit of pizzazz to his buttons there is I've taken some of the pearls, the artisan pearls, and I'm just going to put it right over top of the buttons here. So we can just find the second one, put it right over top, and then everything is matching up. I just want to make sure that that's stuck down. Okay, so let me pull those all out of the way, and you can again give me your impressions. Taller, smaller, and do you think you might actually use your envelope punch board? So, not your envelope. Oh, look at that. I said the wrong thing. Your gift bag punch board. Because I do use mine. It's a nice sturdy bottom. I want to show you the bottom. So it's stuck together really well. It gives you a nice clean edge and you don't have to worry about measuring anything. Next week, I'm going to be back again at my regular time here, and it's the last time that I'll be at 4:30 on Wednesday nights. After that, I'm going to be Tuesdays at 6:30, and that's Mountain Standard Time. And I've got a great project for you again. And everybody have a fantastic week and have a great paper crafting week too. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.